UK police have charged a student for flying a drone over Commonwealth Stadium last weekend.
Police are still looking for a man they say robbed a bank earlier today in Lexington.
While the trial is still a few months away, the claims are already heating up in the case of a deadly school bus crash in Lincoln County.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
Good afternoon from WKYT News. A busy day here on this Friday. I'm Bill Bryant here with Barbara Bailey. Here's what's happening at noon. The search is on right now for a driver who hit a Lexington police officer with his car.
It happened just about 45 minutes ago near the Speedway on North Broadway at 7th Street. We're told the officer was on foot at the time he was hit, but is expected to be okay. WKYT's Victor Puente is live at the scene now with the breaking details. Good afternoon, Victor.
Well, that officer was walking around here at the scene when I arrived. The officer told me that it started at a gas station just up the road behind me. Now, that was from another officer who was here at the scene. He said it started with a shoplifting at the Speedway on Broadway and 7th Street. A Lexington police officer took off after him on foot, chased him to Dakota Street. They say he had a getaway car waiting there with someone else driving. And as they were pulling away, they hit that officer. He was checked out by paramedics, but eventually walked back to the Speedway to finish his paperwork on that shoplifting. After that car was driven from here, police believe the driver hit a pole on Toner Street and then fled from the scene. And because of that crash, police believe that car probably has front end damage. They're currently looking for it and the people inside. Live in Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Police are investigating a bank robbery in Lexington. It happened just after 9:30 this morning at the Chase Bank on Nichols Park off Manowar, that's near Nicholasville Road. Police say he entered the bank, implied he had a weapon, and got away with cash. WKYT's Michelle Chamberlain has the latest now on the search for suspects. It's our other top story at noon.
A man is still on the loose after robbing a bank in Lexington this morning. At around 9:30 this morning, a man came into Chase Bank on Nicholas Park and implied he had a weapon. He forced at least one elderly man to the ground, demanding cash from bank employees, and ran out of the bank with an undetermined amount of cash. Police had a full search with helicopter, K-9 unit, and several police on foot in the surrounding area off of Manowar. The search came to an end around 11 o'clock, but the suspect is still on the loose.
Still just kind of following up on some leads. Obviously, surveillance footage will be key in this to try to identify whoever the subject may be, and we'll go from there. Hopefully, if somebody saw anything in the surrounding neighborhoods, they may call in with any tips or information they have.
If you have any information on this man, or if you recognize him in the picture, you're asked to contact Lexington Police. In Lexington, Michelle Chamberlain, WKYT.
Michelle, thank you. Now, no one was injured inside the bank. Police say the suspect is a black man in his 30s, about 6 feet tall, 230 pounds. He was wearing a gray shirt and gray and red hat.
A UK student is facing charges this midday in connection to that drone crash during the UK football game last Saturday. 24-year-old Peyton Wilson, who is a law student from Louisville, is now charged with wanton endangerment. Police say he was operating the drone from outside Commonwealth Stadium when it crashed right into the suite level just before kickoff. WKYT's Mike Linden is live at Commonwealth now with more on how police were able to tie Wilson to that drone and the alleged.
That's right, Bill. UK police have arrested have charged a UK student for crashing a drone quadcopter into Commonwealth Stadium during last weekend's home opener against Louisiana Lafayette. UK police have charged 24-year-old Peyton Wilson for crashing that drone into Commonwealth Stadium last Saturday. The 24-year-old first-year UK law student from Louisville is charged with second-degree wanton endangerment, which is a misdemeanor. Police say Wilson was piloting the drone from the parking lot as it crashed into the south side suite-level glass of the new stadium. And while no one was injured in the crash, UK police say one of the military parachutists skydiving into the stadium before the game had to make emergency evasive maneuvers to avoid contact with the drone.
Well, we hope that this will set a precedence that this is not going to be tolerated at the University of Kentucky in these venues without prior approval.
UK police say they have forwarded their findings to the FAA. to determine whether or not there are any other violations or penalties to seek against Wilson. Live in Lexington, Mike Linden, WKYT.
All right, we'll see where it goes from here, but Chief Monroe says Wilson could face up to a year in jail and/or fines.
For the first time, we're hearing why the family of a Lincoln County man killed in a crash involving a school bus says the school district is to blame. William Otis Coleman died when the school bus hit his truck head-on in May of last year. His family sued the driver and the school district. As WKYT's Hillary Thornton tells us, we learned new information about the lawsuit during a hearing today.
Today, more than 1 year after the lawsuit was filed, we are hearing why exactly the family of William Otis Coleman is asking that the Lincoln County School District be held responsible for the crash that killed him. Attorneys representing the victim's family as well as those for the school were in the courtroom today for a hearing ahead of the November 2nd trial. Discussions included punitive damages as well as immunity for some of the defendants. The family of Coleman claims there was a systematic failure by the school district to maintain buses and that mechanics were making manual adjustments when they were not supposed to. The defense argues that claim and actions cannot be connected to the particular set of brakes on the bus involved in the deadly crash. They also argued today that the superintendent and the transportation director should be immune from the trial, citing qualified immunity, which says any public official who makes discretionary policies and decisions and supervises others are entitled to immunity if it is claimed they've done something wrong in making those decisions. Attorneys for the Coleman family say that should not apply in this case, as the superintendent, Karen Hatter, had knowledge of issues with the buses and did nothing about them, which they say led to the terrible crash, sending more than 30 students to the hospital and killing Coleman.
If the kids can't get from their home to the school, then what does it matter what happens once they get to school? The buses should be the primary responsibility of the school district, and they were derelict in that duty last year.
Judge David Tapp did not make a decision on any of the motions heard today, saying he wants to wait and see what the Supreme Court decides in the next few weeks on a case involving Nissan. So he did set another hearing for all of these matters for next month. In Lincoln County, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Now, attorneys for the school district say maintaining the bus fleet is a constant battle due to lack of manpower and funding. They say the district has been working hard to improve its upkeep and maintenance schedules. The driver and 2 mechanics are also named in this lawsuit.
We'll be getting an early taste of fall this weekend. Rain chances out there and much cooler temperatures. So how long before summer might make a little last return to the bluegrass for the next few days? WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is live in our First Alert Weather Center with a look ahead.
Well, it's a really good looking day outside, and it honestly doesn't feel that bad. Some of us had some fog pretty much all morning long. Now, since that has come up and really just kind of withered away on out of here, now we're seeing sunshine for virtually everybody. So we're going to be dealing with that, but then you got to look back toward the west. Look down toward, say, 24, just to the west there, Bowling Green and Nashville. See these little blips popping up here and there? That's going to be the case as we slide off into the rest of the afternoon, heading our way into our region. We're looking at showers and thunderstorms today. Spotty. Not everybody sees them, but most of us will. And a few storms in toward 5 p.m. It's really late afternoon off into the evening hours that we see the bulk of it move on in. That means that as we head off toward Friday night football for high schools, it could be a little damp. I'm going to take you hour by hour tonight and also into tomorrow with all those events going on and that cool air coming. Just a few minutes.
All right, should be interesting, and we'll see you shortly, Micah. Thank you. Across the nation today, flags are lowered and ceremonies are being held to remember one of the darkest days in American history. At Eastern Kentucky University, the quiet heroes of 9/11 were honored this morning. EKU's Vice President for Student Success, Laurie Carter, worked in New York City before moving to Kentucky. She shared her story of remembrance at today's service, recalling the panic and the terror from that day. Her hope is for students who may be too young to remember what happened 14 years ago will know that the spirit of America has never been stronger.
It was a day that if anyone was questioning their faith in humanity, it was a day that humanity rose above the ashes of that terrorist attack and really came together in a way that was unbelievable.
A time of unity in those days after the attack, and later today EKU will hold 2 memorial stair climbs at Keene Hall to honor the first responders of 9/11. One will be at 3 o'clock this afternoon, the other is at 9 o'clock tonight. Well, Opry Mills down in Nashville is catering to Kentuckians this month.
The Outlet Mall is offering a month of special giveaways to customers from the Bluegrass State. All you have to do is show your Kentucky ID at the guest services booth. They're giving away a coupon book filled with hundreds of dollars in savings and a Simon Crock cosmetic bag. They're offering the same deal to folks from Alabama. Opry Mills says it's a way of showing appreciation to its loyal customers who travel in from other states.
All right, go get a deal. Well, Republican efforts against President Obama's nuclear deal with Iran appear to be losing traction in Congress.
The latest on the debate next on Kentucky's #1 midday news.
And also ahead, Vice President Joe Biden casts some doubt on a potential bid for the White House in an emotional interview on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Find out what may be holding him back from a possible presidential run. Coming up on WKYT News at noon.